Hey everybody, Kenny here. This video we're going to be doing a quick introduction to the sixth and final party member in Ruined King, a League of Legends story, Ahri, Enigmatic Vistaya. And just a quick disclaimer here, I have not yet actually used Ahri. I've only just gained access to her at the end of my last session, and so I was able to look through her stats and all of her abilities, but I haven't actually tried her out yet. So most of what I'm going to be saying is going to be speculation, but I think I have a good handle on how she works. So Ahri is the second healer that you receive in Ruined King. And while I personally don't consider her as good a healer as Ilaoi, I do think that Ahri is an interesting healing class. But while Ilaoi is capable of healing, damage, and tanking, Ahri is only capable of healing and dealing damage. So it's definitely best to pair her up with either Braum or both Ilaoi and Braum, since you want to be able to protect her whatever may come. The primary way in which Ahri heals in Ruined King, which is why I consider her a very interesting healer, is that she has a passive skill called Essence Theft. And based on certain abilities she has, she's able to increase stacks of this passive ability. And at maximum stacks, she'll just heal the character with the lowest amount of health. This allows her to maintain her healing duties while also dishing out damage, which is something that Ilaoi can only really do with her ultimate. Another very interesting aspect of this character is that she kind of has an active version of Ilaoi's tentacles. So whereas Ilaoi kind of passively generates tentacles as she goes, Ahri can use Foxfire to basically create her own, tentacle analog. So she'll create like some kind of orb that will attack enemies at random. Obviously, she can't spawn them at the rate that Ilaoi can spawn her tentacles, but they do perform a very similar action, though with more damage-related qualities. So they can apply status effects and even increase the number of essence theft stacks that Ahri can accumulate. And for a very interesting sustainment option, they can even recover Ahri's mana each time they attack. So if you were to go get into a combat situation and use her instant abilities to get her a nice amount of overcharge, then something you could do is kind of do Foxfire a couple times, like 2 or 3 times, which honestly, Foxfire, from what I can tell, if you give it the right ability enhancements, can be used like Braum and Ilaoi's taunts to be able to instantly recover her turn. So you could actually kind of like chain them together, kind of go Foxfire, Foxfire, Foxfire. Then, although it's probably not a good idea to do that, since you cannot reduce the amount of mana consumed by Foxfire, and it is fairly costly. So, and I think that they only last for 3 rounds. So like each orb only lasts for 3 rounds. So if you were to do 3 in a row, then by the time you do the 3rd one, then the first one would probably be despawning. So I'll probably do 2 of those, and then each one would allow you to use Ahri's lane skills more aggressively, since you would be recovering some mana each round, because every time her turn comes up, they would be attacking and recovering some of her mana, which is an interesting way to synergize all of her abilities together. And with the Guardian Spirit skill, she's able to make it that each time an ally takes damage, they get healed for, it's a small amount, but they would get healed a little. And by having kind of this Foxfire, Guardian Spirit synergy going on, you would be able to kind of have be in like a constant state of building up lots of essence theft stacks in order to make Guardian Spirit heal everyone for more each time they take a hit, kind of mitigating some damage each round. And then, then you hit the max stacks and she just heals everybody while attacking. And she does have a pretty decent healing skill called Spirit Mend, which you can also alter to be a party-wide heal, which is probably the best option to go with that, since it also can be upgraded to cleanse debuffs. And while she has other skills that help her to kind of lean into her damage dealing role, it's more about her balancing the fact that she deals damage and heals. That's kind of like what the strength of this character is. I mean, I guess you could kind of, lean into using Orb of Deception and Debilitating Orb to just, kind of like stack a bunch of debuffs, and then, then generate your overcharge to use her damaging skills like Devour and Vestayan Flames. But honestly, I don't think that those are like really good uses of Ahri, because if you want to deal damage, you have Pike. The Pike's the best there is. Ahri is nothing compared to Pike. No one is anything compared to Pike when it comes to dealing damage. So really, like, I don't see a good reason to kind of lean into using Ahri as your primary damage dealer. Like, the best reason I could think of as having her as a damage dealer is if you wanted to have her and Illaoi on the same, out at the same time. So have, Braum as your tank, then Illaoi and Ahri as your healer DPS duo, which isn't a bad idea. That's like in Battle Chasers Night War, one of my favorite teams was having Aluman, Gully, and Garrison as one team, and Nolan, Calabrero, and Red Monica as my other team. And rolling double tanks and double healers is actually surprisingly effective in these games. Like, instead of having, mind you, in the case of Braum, Illaoi, and Ahri, you're kind of running all tanks and healers. There's actually kind of the issue with this game is that everyone has their roles kind of improperly set. Everyone should have more roles than they have, but for some reason they decided to make the characters less effective in this than they were in Battle Chasers. But but each of the characters are still very effective in their own right. So I could definitely see doing a Ahri, Braum, and Illaoi combo where you just have Braum taking all the hits and the other two just making it that it's impossible for Braum to die while constantly healing up everybody, because Illaoi can have her healing tentacles and she has lots of means of self-healing while dealing damage, which that's the thing where Ahri kind of takes precedence over Illaoi in that case, because Illaoi can heal by dealing damage, but only herself. If Illaoi could heal other characters by dealing damage, then it would be unquestionable who's the better healer. But in this case, I feel that Illaoi's only the better healer because her kit makes her just a more reliable healer. You know that you're going to get her heals off, and you're going to be able to do either a big single target heal or a party-wide heal to also remove all status effects. Where Ahri, you're going to have her occasional triggered heals, and then a heal that could be either a single target or a party-wide heal, depending on how what upgrades you picked on it. So so she's more of a pick your poison kind of healer. But when I was looking through all of her skills and I was trying to wrap my head around the way she worked, my initial impressions were incredibly negative for Ahri. I thought that she was a terrible character. And looking at her, the only thing that I thought was good about her entire kit was that she has the ability to slow enemies. The fact that she has slow in her kit was the only thing that I liked about her when I was looking through her skills. And then while reviewing all of her skills for this video, I realized that, the way that she's meant to work is actually very synergistic. And I am looking forward to using her in my next gameplay session. But aside from that, Ahri is a pretty interesting character. Like I said, I haven't directly used her yet, so we'll see how that turns out. Field wise, once again, it's another situation where I don't see a reason for using her as your combat initiator instead of Braum, Ilaoi, or Yasuo. Like those three just have the best available set for initiating encounters, because starting out an encounter with more tentacles with Ilaoi is always preferred. Being able to stun an enemy before at the start of an encounter by using Braum's encounter ability, like, it's definitely probably the best of the options, but it requires you to be right up on the enemy, which is why, like, I would say, like, of the three best, he's the worst of the best. And then Yasuo, I would kind of rate his at the same level as Ilaoi, because Yasuo is supposed to slow the enemies. He's supposed to reduce their haste when his encounter initiator hits. But I've noticed a lot of situations where, like, it'll say they were slowed when they get hit, and then at the start of the encounter, the enemies will still go first. So, I don't know, it could just be that, the enemies that do that just have very high natural haste. And because we can't see enemy stats, we can't tell that this is just an enemy with a lot of haste, and so even slowing them will still not really change the fact that they're going to go first. But either way, like, his is also the furthest reaching of all of the skills. So you can initiate combat much further away with Yasuo than you can with anyone else. But Ilaoi is still my preferred combat initiator, just because, like I said, having her start off with more tentacles is better than the other options. With all that said, Ahri is a very interesting character that I'm looking forward to trying, but I will not give a recommendation for using her just yet, since I have not. If you enjoyed this video, thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, appreciate doing all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to y'all next time.